I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs spoon. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Try to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Ninja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, I'm scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know. Breaking status quo, reaping what I sow. Artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in. I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror, oh oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Aslı.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinning.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Aslı.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running.
Sorry for what?
But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie time.
Hey, yo, boss.
You're the better ninja.
I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to be here with all of you tonight. Thank you all so much for stopping in. We have a great show planned tonight and I finally got out another video for our war room. So you just have to be a member of that tier and you'll see it. But I'm going to release those kind of as we go and as we start talking about um, Sebastian Rogers case because there's a lot of comparisons that we can do and that sort of thing. Hey, Witchy Mama, she's Lady Freedom in the house, in the house. Good to see you. And Cinderella's here. Hey, Cinderella and Bo and Brenda. Hey, Brad. Good to see you. I'll tell you what, guys, I don't think I could take the cold weather. I saw you guys talking about it in chat here. Hey, Crazy Bird. And Kylie is here. Also, let's see. I also saw someone else up here. Coffee Crime and Cats. There you are, Coffee Crime and Cats. So good to see you. And thank you guys for being here. Hey, Piano Girl. Yeah, 2 years is way too long, right? It is way too long. And, that's why I kind of want to go back to the beginning and see what we can get together here. Hello, Deanna. Good to see you. And thank you for being here, Marion, as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of information and a lot of things were said and said again and said again and said again, right? Because when I review Seth's lives, there's not as much to compare because it would just be me saying the same thing, hearing him say the same thing over and over again. If you guys want me to do something like that, I can do it, but he's been very consistent. Um so it's not something that you can really analyze over and over again because, well, no offense, Seth, but it's boring because we don't really think that you had involvement. And so, especially when what you see is what you get, or when you ask a question, it's very direct. We're going to see that as it plays out with Seth, right? So, but even in the war room right now, we're still going way back to the beginning of what could have happened. Um, Up into Sebastian going missing, which would be, about 16 months, 17 months, give or take, where the CPS report started, because that was allegedly in the fall of 2022. That was when the first CPS report was put out, and then we have others as well. It is 69 degrees in Florida. It cools off during the nighttime. And then, during the day it's hot. Now the summer is pretty miserable. Like when we get into the dog days of summer, it's like, oh, But good thing there's a pool and that sort of thing. So, um, and the beach too. So sometimes the water gets really, really hot also though here, um, in Florida. So, but it's always nice. I mean, you have a lot more nice days than you do like crappy ones, but it rained today. So, but thank you for asking. I saw your comment too, Brad, that you were not liking the Tennessee weather. Aw, I'm so glad you're here, Marion. Thank you for being here. So, yeah, so we got a lot to go over. Hey, Tam. And I wanted to start out with Seth's first interview with Pascal, right? Because I'm going over um, some of what was happening in the beginning. And Seth is going to eventually talk about the trash video, right? And so I think it's a good idea to go over it and continue to look it over, especially because it's been a while since we've watched it. And like I said, as we'll watch Seth on these interviews that we're going to pull up of Seth's, because I even want to revisit Bullhorn Betty's interview with Seth. He talks about the very beginning, what he's going through. At this point, it's March 11th, right? So only a couple of weeks in. It's really 2 weeks in, and here we are 2 years, over 2 years now in. So that's what we're going to look at. And again, we'll just see where Seth is very direct in answering questions. He does give some detail also, but it's not something where you think that he's trying to clean up a statement or maybe clean up an assumption that one might have if they hear whatever the interview. Seth also spoke to Nick Barris around this time, and Pascal was talking about this interview. that he had with Nick Barris. And so we're going to play that part first in the video.
Exactly 2 weeks ago, we were just learning about the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Sumner County. Today, the search continues. The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation.
All right. The case now we know is a criminal investigation. Let's play that again. Let's slow jam it.
The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation.
For the first time, we are getting a look at family video of the missing 15-year-old. Sebastian's biological father gave it to Nick Barris during an exclusive on-camera interview.
Seth Rogers shares custody of his son, and the deputy with the Davidson County Sheriff's Department spent the past 2 weeks looking for Sebastian.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now, is that he's not deceased. I mean, I keep praying that he's alive. I keep praying that somebody's going to see him, that somebody's going to call 911.
Seth's 15-year-old son disappeared barefoot and with a flashlight from his mother and stepfather's home in Hendersonville either late on Sunday, March 3rd or early that Monday. Seth knows the key to finding his son may come from a tip. Several photographs have already been made public, and now he's released 2 video clips of Sebastian. In this first one, you see Sebastian up front on the left in yellow shorts, participating in a tug-of-war with fellow students.
And if you watch, he got swung around at the end like a little rag doll, and it's like, well, he gave it his best.
This second video shows Sebastian walking at his middle school graduation.
I was very proud of him. I mean, he successfully completed something.
Seth says his son, who is autistic, is not a wanderer. He finds it highly unlikely Sebastian would leave in the middle of the night barefoot, based on an experience his son had as a child.
He decided that he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt, and it was fire ants.
Oh.
And since then, it's always been, doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to have his socks and shoes on.
Seth won't rule out the possibility of foul play, that someone is involved in his son's disappearance. And if Sebastian is able, he says he needs to call for help.
He needs to call 911. And if somebody has him, you need to give him back. He's my son.
All right, guys. So I'll rewind that a little bit, but you know, it's just funny when I watch it back because Seth is just, you know, what you see is what you get with Seth. Hey, Brenda. So yeah, it's crazy. It's just really crazy that when we look back at it, he's Scranton. So because now I've met Seth, and so I kind of know his demeanor, and it's the same. You know, if you watch something like that, it's just like that's how Seth is. That's kind of how he talks, and you can get a good, at least a baseline for Seth on that, in my opinion. He's going to come in here and tell me I'm wrong, but I think that's a good baseline for Seth. He just tells it like it is, right? He's telling a story. It's a genuine feel to what you're hearing, you know, in my opinion. So he's super proud, right, Kylie? Yeah, that's another thing too. Very strong comment here because, you know, even when he was accepting the award at the vigil over at Beach High School, you could just feel it, you know, even though Sebastian wasn't there. So I could just imagine, you know, what it was like for him to see him graduate from 8th grade. And, you know, he was so happy that day with his teachers. We've seen all the pictures from that. Now that it's been 2 years, you know, they've released a lot of pictures. And, you know, we can see kind of how Sebastian has changed in as he's grown up, you know. So
his disappearance. And if Sebastian is able, he says he needs to call for help.
He needs to call 911. And if somebody has him, you need to give him back. He's my son. And he doesn't belong to nobody, but damn it, he's mine. And he's mine.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
That is basically the whole.
Okay, so, oh, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I can't get, okay, there we go. All right, so this is going to be a call in now to Pascal. And again, I just want to remind everybody it's March 11th, 2024. So a couple weeks after Sebastian goes missing, they did scale back the search. They did a large scale search the first 7 days for those of you who are just joining us. Did a large scale search the first week, right? And then they scaled it back, and then they ended up doing a landfill search. But this is before that. This is like right before that, in between some other things that were coming out, right? Like the flashlight video and things like that. So just to kind of put it into perspective. And I remember being in this chat as well. So here we go.
He's mine. And he's mine.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
That is basically the whole interview that they put out. Okay? With Seth. Okay, guys. Let's find out. Hey, you on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Calling from Clarksville, Tennessee. My name is Seth Rogers.
Thank you so much for calling in. How are you doing?
About as best as I can. My son's missing. And I wanted to tell you thank you because you're getting this out to more people. We've been passing flyers out. We've got all the way to Chattanooga. We've got billboards all the way up to Memphis.
Yeah.
We've reached out to malls to see if we can get flyers out there to try to find him. And I want to tell you thank you.
All right, guys. He wants to tell Pascal thank you for talking about my son. Thank you for keeping his name out there. And I remember thinking, oh my God, that's a really nice thing. You know, first hearing this, I remember thinking that. Yeah, and Brenda, let me tell you, he is a very matter of fact guy from everything I've seen, a little bit too much at times. He can be a bit much. Um I'm gonna tease the hell out of Seth tonight because, I mean, I have to. I can't help myself. Um Seth really loves Sebastian. He's his pride and joy. Yeah, and that was stolen from him, in my opinion. Well, look, 2 years, over 2 years has been stolen, in my opinion, too. I think you're right on the head, Marion. Um, Christmases, birthdays, Easters, um, Father's Days, all of it. Sebastian could have been doing really, really well. I mean, in the online schooling by now, it could have been already, he would have been getting it as part of his routine or getting in the swing of things, right? And doing ADA therapies at home. It would have been a whole different ball game, so to speak. And, in my opinion, Katie and Chris, it really just doesn't even seem like they had any plans for Sebastian to go there every other weekend or anything. It was just like, get him out of here. I hate saying that. I hate saying it. Because I would hate for Sebastian to hear that. But even more so, I hate that it's really a strong opinion of mine. Um, and I try not to spread a whole bunch of bull crap out there. But it's just, there's an overwhelming amount of um, circumstantial evidence or just very suspicious behavior on top of that. Um, that leads me to believe that they absolutely know where Sebastian is. We never heard Chris and Katie come out and plead for Sebastian to call 911. Somebody call 911, you call 911. Hell, Chris didn't even call 911 when he reported Sebastian missing. And I mean, they did that on a three-way phone call. Again, very suspicious behavior. Hey, Holly. And, they reported him right away, which was strange because Katie didn't, much do a whole lot to find Sebastian first. So it's all very suspicious. Yeah. Yeah, he did. He did, to my knowledge. Pascal did introduce Tony and Seth. Yeah, and I mean, that's a thing that's great about good connections that you can make. Um, it's an unfortunate thing when you make good connections with people for um, unforeseeable or really, really tragic reasons, right? But it's always still a good thing. And, we just never know what our path, where our paths will lead us. But um, yeah, I think that was a great relationship. And I think that, Pascal wanted to help find Sebastian, and give up some resources to do that. So, um, yeah. Yeah, the emotion is real. Exactly, Kylie. Yeah. Have never heard Katie or Chris thank anyone for talking about Sebastian. In my opinion, they have done the opposite. So I put out a video, and like this was like right when I started making videos and stuff, Brenda. And I was like, with all the resources these people are getting, like, I cannot believe they're not thanking anyone. And even on Duchess for the Missing, it was just crickets. Like, when it came to Trevor Lee, like, saying, "Oh, I'll help you so much. Duchess, I'll help you guys do whatever," and they were just sitting there like they didn't know what to say or do. It was so awkward, and I even put little crickets in the video because I was like, "This is really bad." I mean, and then you might get like, "Thank you," something like that. I don't even know if you guys heard me right then because, I was over there turning up Katie's interviews to, 200% trying to get them all the way up and then saving it again because she was just talking like this. It was ridiculous. No, Seth comes out. He's telling us stories about why he wouldn't think that Sebastian would leave without shoes. That was very helpful. And, he was also not bashing anybody. But he said it's strange because he had a situation with the fire ants. Then we see months later, maybe even a year later. I don't remember when they put that flamingo. No, it was before the year mark, but it was the flamingo picture. And he's wearing water shoes. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. He's wearing water shoes. Hmm. Yeah, even just the simple day, right? Yeah, and the thing about Sebastian and Seth is they like to do things together, like go fishing. They like to play Magic the Gathering. They like to do these different things together, right? So they're like two peas in a pod. And we all just know that any day away from our kid is too many days, you know? I appreciate that blunt honesty. Yeah, I do too. Which that's probably what it is for me too. Yeah, I do too. I've been accused of it myself a few times, so it's so easy, yeah, to know when someone's not my people. Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing. I just want you to like give it to me real. I don't like to play games. I really and a lot of times I won't catch on at first. I'll be like, "What?" I won't understand it at first. But yeah, sometimes people just like to play those manipulation games and um it's too much. It's too much. And I just would rather someone tell me honestly. Plus, Chris and Katie have trouble answering questions that are directly associated to Sebastian's disappearance. We don't see that with Seth. And that's another thing that is probably more refreshing too, because it's like, oh, okay, you actually don't know where he is and you actually do need help finding him. For Chris and Katie, I just feel like they could tell me a lot more than I can tell them, you know? I mean, Seth is the same. He could tell me more than I could tell him too, but it's just a little bit different because I feel like Seth has told us a lot of information, and I think we need to go back and listen to it. And I think we really need to listen to what he's telling us and analyze it, even though we know he's not involved. But there's like little pieces in there that we can fill in the gaps in the timeline, at least, right? With some information that is probably true. I'm not going to say Seth is perfect and he's never lied before, right? Because I would be lying to you. And I haven't known Seth his whole life, so I'm sure there were times, just like me, just like any of us. But I'm talking about looking at Chris and Katie's statements for truth because they got a 52% truthful. Seth's statement came out truthful. So to me, that's where we need to focus attention and start looking at where we can find the truth and the lies, so to speak. So, yeah, Holly, it's just, and like I said, we have a lot of holes in those timelines, you know? So, yeah, never an ounce of emotion, you know? Lover Girl says, I still do not understand why they called the non emergency line for an emergency. What's more of an emergency than not being able to find your child? Well, and that's a good point, Lover Girl, but I will say that I think it depends on the area just because well, and I will say because Sebastian has a rare chromosome deletion and he has the pocket of fluid, also, recent diagnosis of autism. If I'm a mom, I'm telling the people that, and they better get their butts here, and it would be an emergency, right? Because Sebastian might have been in a position where he couldn't get back for help or whatever, like they were saying in the beginning. But in Gannon Stauch's case, even, and Gannon's, a little bit younger, 7 at the time, um, they made Letitia called 911 first, and then they made her call the non-emergency line. So I think that it just depends on the area, and then, they used to make people wait 24 hours, 48 hours before they're gonna, do anything. Then we realized, oh, the first 48 are the most important, so, they take it more seriously now than they used to. But I know what you're saying. To me, it would be an emergency. I would do the same thing, oddly, what that Letitia did and call the 911 versus a non-emergency line. Now, if Sebastian was the type of child that liked to wander or elope, then I might not call the emergency line, right? Because at that point, I've probably called before and they're probably aware of the situation. Because again, we have to remember what the routines of people are. And I was even talking, or I even messaged Groot today because we were talking about possibly getting together for like an autism awareness day. Um, I believe it's June 16th. Because there's all different types of autism because it's a spectrum, right? So autism spectrum disorder, you can have all different types of, variations and symptoms of autism, and some are more severe than others. um, so, and that's why, there's therapies to help with that, and that's what Seth was really focused in on, as well as Sebastian's trauma, when they were selecting a place for him to go. Because, again, and I keep bringing this up again and again because I think it's important, they wanted to put him in Bledsoe Youth Academy and be done with him, until they could get him enrolled. But then again, what if they put him in there and something bad happened? Or what if they put him in there and he was learning behaviors from these other kids, and he came out worse than what, I don't know exactly if that was supposed to be until Seth can get him into the online school or what. But I do know that Seth kept him in that online school, um, on the waiting list. So when they pulled back, he never did take him off of that. He was always like, "No, my son's gonna come stay with me and live with me," right? Because, I mean, it does have to be concerning, when the other parents are saying, "We don't want him living here," and then you look up, this academy, the next time you're hearing about it, you're looking up an academy, that has a horrible track record, um, that's just a really awful place. Piano Girl says they have never pled for his safe return or his return ever, let alone shown any emotions over him. I know. Maybe the first interview with Holly Thompson, Katie was, blobbering and rocking. Yeah, I know what you mean though. Um, I think she was absolutely fake crying in Duchess's interview, in my opinion. I think they did, Bo. I would imagine they did. The thing about Bledsoe is I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. Even if somebody did look into it, I think they need to look into it again. Especially after Chris's statements about the 18. I think it would be something where we might look into similar options. Well, and the thing is I hate to just go by what Chris says, but I mean, he was talking about the thing about 18, bringing him home when he's 18, or when he comes back, he's going to need extensive therapy and blah, blah, blah. But he also said that comment about how he's out in the woods and, that sort of thing. Brenda says, Lover Girl, in my opinion, they called their friends in the police department. I think so too. I think they definitely got a special call in to someone that they knew. For sure, Brenda. Yeah. Yeah. I think that everybody was aware before the police were aware, in my opinion. Like everybody in terms of Melissa, because she told on herself. Everybody, because Kathy Bowersox was seen over at Worsham's by 3 different people who tried to tell Heather PI, but Heather PI was Fish Sticks' bestie and partner. So we had people that were legitimately infiltrating like spy shit level into Sebastian's case and befriending Seth just like any other nasty troll would. And in my opinion, a lot of that behavior is attributed to the way that Terry Lynn handles things. It's right out of the 90 Days on Blast playbook. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, do some research. Lover Girl says, Brenda, and 100 agree. That's what makes the most sense. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. And see, that's where we need to follow the lead, right? Too with what makes the most sense, because the truth is what makes sense. I think Seth needs to lawyer up. Yeah, he I think he does have counsel, in my opinion. I'll just say that, in my opinion. Crazy Bird, I don't believe Seth has told one lie about his son. Yeah, I don't think so. He wants to find him and he knows if he lies it won't help. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Crazy Bird. I am. Yeah, I agree with that. Which he says if CP called emergency from Memphis, he would get Memphis 911. If he called, good point, Witchy. Yeah, absolutely. If he called from Mama Sock's house, use the non-emergency number, it wouldn't make sense at all. The cell towers will give us those details one day. I mean, they always tend to give us those details, right, Witchy? um, I'll just have to be quiet about some of something else that crossed my mind just now, but they do. They tell a story, don't they? And they don't lie. Yeah. Yeah. So again, it really just comes down to did the police do the job that they were supposed to? I mean, they called in all of those resources, right? I mean, it was like they threw everything at it. But did they collect the evidence that was necessary to follow a trail, right? A paper trail, a digital trail, or did they drop the ball there? I can't believe that they would drop the ball there unless they know, but they're not saying it, unless they know, but they're being stubborn and will not charge until Sebastian's found. Because that's what they were telling us at the gathering. Well, we're not gonna, we're not gonna do anything until we get a clue, the last clue that we need. Well, what the fuck other clue could they be talking about? I mean, ugh, sorry, it just gets me to drop the F bomb. Brenda says, the only time I thought Seth was being a little untruthful was when he said the lights video was a trash truck. You could tell he didn't believe it. But the other two, I know. Well, that was an awkward time. That stood out to me as well. Yeah, because I remember watching him on Pascal as well, and that was when he was, you know, like, and another thing too with Seth is he didn't ever mind showing him his face, showing who he was. It's so much better to plead to the camera, you know. Um, and that sort of thing. I mean, it's not like people know to do those kinds of things. They just kind of do it. But in the same way, I think Seth, and we're going to hear in this interview, but I wanted to hear what you guys were saying too. Um, Seth takes his job seriously, and he did take it very seriously. And imagine having a respect for, yourself and fellow law enforcement officers and what you guys do for the community. And then imagine your son goes missing and it's like they dropped the ball. And I feel like that's where Seth has felt like over and over again they've dropped the ball. And then he tries to give them a chance because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so he's trying, but unfortunately it's not working because again, he feels like he's been lied to. He's caught them in lies. I mean, they've lied to us blatantly and we all know it, right? It's hard for us to trust Sumner County, in my opinion. And the reason why it's hard for us to trust them is because of the way that they have trampled on people's trust before. We didn't like to see Seth like that, even when we didn't know who he was at the time, right? We know he's Sebastian's dad at that time. That's it. Seth has come out and given us again a lot of information. He's put his heart out, he's put his heart on his sleeve and said, "Please help me find my son. And thank you for helping me find my son." Kylie says that would be great. I have two nieces that are on the spectrum. Yeah, and I think so many of you guys out there that have family, friends. I mean, we all know people, that are on the spectrum, and it's like it's really important for us to make sure that we're aware, and especially when all different types of people go missing, you are dealing with a more complex personality, right? And it's definitely important to spread awareness, and then remind people that not every autistic person is the same. Not every person will be drawn to water in a dangerous way. For example, right? Um, does anyone know if KP or CP are getting updates from Bledsoe? I don't think so, no. I don't know. No, for all I know, I mean, they said they weren't gonna send him there because Seth didn't want him to go. But then all of a sudden he went missing. So, I know. I'm right there with you, Marion. We can't leave any stones left unturned. We have to look under every single one of them because there must have been some that we didn't turn over yet. So, thank you, Witchy. So, yeah. I mean, there's got to be some that we haven't turned over.
Everybody who helped me try to find my son, I appreciate it. I've been out because it's me and some of his extended family that have been doing flyers and stuff. So I've been passing out flyers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going to businesses, passing out flyers. Everybody knows, like in my town, in Clarksville, everybody knows and everybody's seeing it. But tomorrow I have a trip planned. I've got 7 different locations I'm going to see if I can find anything that and put more flyers up.
Right on.
I'm going to the south side of Nashville tomorrow to put flyers up everywhere.
Any type of hope in finding Sebastian in your search?
I always have hope. I always have hope. I always have hope. I got to have hope because I can't believe that he's dead.
You mind me that?
I get up every morning and I hit the road. I drive around, put flyers out, and I hope that I get to see him. I hope I get to make a left-hand turn and he's there, or I jump on the interstate and he's walking himself to me.
Where were you when you got the phone call that he was missing?
Well, I just got off of work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I got to my vehicle, got in there, and there was a text message from the stepfather. Call me, it's 911. And I called him, and he told me that Pascal was missing.
Yeah.
And I left from there and drove straight to his mom's house. And I was there all day waiting.
All right. He called, or excuse me, he gets a 911, right? Again, but they didn't call 911. But Seth gets out. This is the same story that he tells on Bullhorn Betty, by the way. Same story. So, I mean, again, I could do like a whole Seth video where we just listen to him say the same story over and over again. It's nowhere near as exciting as Chris and Katie because we are listening and then we're finding and then we're like, oh my God, they said this last time, right? That's what gets our brains going. And we're like, oh my goodness, right? That's what stimulates our brains because. But then if I was to do a video like that about Seth, we would be hearing the same thing. He's just telling Betty, same thing. March 11th. When did he do an interview with Betty? Was it June? Or was it maybe May? I don't know. I'd have to go look. Either way, it was around that time period, and he's telling the same story now. And another thing I wanted to point out too, I was looking over my Texas Roadhouse footage, and this is me driving from the Texas Roadhouse to Chris and Katie's after Texas Roadhouse on Sunday, and I left there probably around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. So just so you guys know, and it was raining that day, so I'll just say that about the conditions. Um, but it took about 13, well, I'm going to say 15 minutes total because I don't know what kind of red lights or whatever they came up on. So we have 15 minutes from Texas Roadhouse to Sebastian's residence, and that's just being a little bit generous, maybe even by 30 seconds, but just to, give you a ballpark. Um, doesn't take long. So there you go.
For something, some type of information. Pascal was missing.
Yeah.
And I left from there and drove straight to his mom's house. And I was there all day waiting for something, some type of information. I saw him bring the dogs in. I was sitting there watching police come in and out, ask questions.
Yeah.
And they asked those questions, of course. And they're, the first thing they did is, where were you? And I'm like, I've been at work for the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
They turned around, they took our phones, make sure that everything that we stated was verifiable.
All right. So they took their phones, making sure everything that they're saying is verifiable. Right. But we also learned later, a little bit later too, that they did go to Seth's house as well to look for Sebastian and toss his room.
Right. And he's not known, Sebastian's not known, as you said as well, he's not known to just go and wander off or to just run off the way that he did, correct?
Correct. He's never been one to do that sort of stuff.
So if you mind me asking this, and it's going to be I got a few tough questions to ask you. I know if you don't want to answer them, then that's totally fine. But when you went into the house, was there anything different or anything off maybe in the house when you were there?
No, I walked in the house. It seemed normal. Everything was clean. Everything was pristine like it normally is.
Like it normally is.
Except for his room.
I gotcha. Except for his room. Okay. Have they been out as the stepdad and the mom? Have they been out searching at all, or have they just stayed home?
From my understanding, my talks with Chris and by their Katie, they've been out putting flyers and posters in the ground.
Okay.
All right. So I think Seth was trying to be nice, in my opinion. I do. I think he was trying to be nice, and I think he was kind of trying to like lay low on, you know, bashing the other parents and stuff like that. But I will say that I did put a video together of JLR going from the Texas Roadhouse um to excuse me, from the Texas Roadhouse to the Proudfoot residence. And then they were telling Smiley that they put yard signs all over, but there was not but I think 2 or 3, including the one in their yard, that was seen on any of those routes, right? So they said they were putting out flyers and yard signs. I don't believe it. And I know that that kind of seems to be very skeptical of me and, you know, how would you know? You don't live there. I get it. But I think, in my opinion, that they were saying they were doing things that they weren't because we see them time and time again get caught in that lie, and then other people saying they're not doing anything. And we know they've never done a vigil. We know that they've never done really anything, especially like when they're on a 7-hour, 8-hour panel, don't talk about Sebastian barely at all. You know, they use it as an opportunity to kind of try to redeem themselves, I guess, but never taking the time to discuss Sebastian or plead for him or tell people please pass out flyers, things like that. So, um, you know, there's that. Oh, Show Poodles, thank you so much for gifting 5 Lady Freedom's Raw Narratives memberships. That is so sweet of you. Thank you very much. Aw, and if you got a membership, make sure you say thank you and welcome to the Dragon Tribe. That's so cool. Thank you very much. Aw.
I haven't seen the interview. I mean,
Okay.
I was interviewed, but I haven't seen it yet.
But there is something that you said in the interview that was actually put into an article. Said something about there was no scent. Okay, like the dogs weren't picking up a scent, but one dog followed a scent out into a construction site and then it disappeared. Could you maybe expand on that or explain a little bit more about that?
One of the dog handlers told me first day,
wow,
Monday, that the dog popped to a trail and they followed it and went all the way around and it ended in a construction site, but it ended. It's like there was nothing there, which
right
leads me to believe that, well, if it ends, normally the scent ends when you stop traveling on foot. From my understanding, that would mean that he got into a car.
Did the scent stop in the middle of the construction site, or did it stop on the side of the road?
Me.
Ah, okay.
They didn't tell me.
Okay, because I'm curious
because
how
I'm the most.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not. No problem. I'm not part of that sheriff's department, so
yeah,
they're not going to share information with me.
Of course.
On top of that, I'm emotionally attached.
Right.
So they don't want me involved in the investigation. So everything I do is pretty much on my own. If I go search somewhere, I'm under pretty much orders to turn around and call TBI and tell them where I'm going so that they know.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm searching by myself. And if I come up missing, they want to know where I was last at. Because they don't want me coming up missing and my son being missing.
Right.
All right, and I do remember them saying that too, and they were saying that to locals who were wanting to search. They were like, "We don't need you all out there, you know, getting lost." And then we're looking for several people, which I understand that logic. Hey, Mama, good to see you, Kylie Ray. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of speculation on the phones and how many Katie had. I mean, we know that she had a bright pink phone in her pocket. We know that she was wearing that pink iWatch. We know Katie likes pink at least. She did at that time because she seemed to have been rocking out the pink a lot. Where is that phone? You can see her phone really well. Here we go. So let me change backgrounds really quick and just take this off. Oh, hold on. My big head's in the way. All right. So if we look on the background, you can see the phone sticking out of Katie's pocket. I do believe that is a phone case. I don't think it's a pad of paper, although it kind of does look like that. But yeah, Katie does seem to have a phone in her back pocket, pink case on it. I heard it was fairly quick that she was given the phone back. I know that everybody was given their phones back pretty quickly. I mean, they can just like run it through and bring it into their system fairly quickly, like downloading all the information off of it. And that's including files that have been deleted. So, just to put it out there for anybody that wants to try to do a crime. So let me see if I can't edit this and put myself. Give me 1 second here. Oh, it won't let me edit that one. There we go. There's Sebastian. All right, here we go, guys.
Did he tell you of any issues at school? Did he have any, was he dealing with any type of bullies, enemies, anything like that at school?
Not that I am aware of. I am tight with my son. I moved from California to Tennessee so I could be close enough to go pick up my son.
Oh, good on you.
Get far enough that when I pick him up, he's don't want to be in her backyard.
Right.
Because she's not my wife,
Yeah. That's respectful. Could he have been online somewhere talking to people?
It is respectful, and plus you don't just want to like go to the grocery store and run into each other, right? I can completely understand that, so you just kind of try to be respectful. Seth, got an apartment, a job, and it's about 45 minutes to an hour away. So, not long. And of course, we hear later that Seth would like to do little stops on the way with Sebastian. They'd stop and have a picnic and fish, and that sort of thing. So, seems like a pretty normal arrangement, in my opinion, respectful arrangement, right? Because again, you don't really want to, run into your ex at the grocery store, particularly.
Oh,
yeah, that's respectful. Could he have been online somewhere talking to people? Yeah.
He played games at my house. My PlayStation is pretty much locked down for my own sake, because I don't. If I don't know you,
right,
I don't want you popping in to talk to me.
I could second that. So, Seth is going to talk about this, and guys, it's funny to me, not funny, haha, funny, but like it's just odd to me that everybody speculated so wildly, right? And I think it was because of Chris and Katie's circus that they caused, in my opinion, and there was a lot of local speculation. But I will say that when Seth is coming up here and I'm rewatching this interview, it's like everything that could have possibly been covered was covered. Even though months later people would be bashing Seth and saying he lied about the internet, da 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 da. Look at him, he's got Sebastian has all these accounts and this and that, and everything just went wild. But here he is again, direct, transparent, heart on his sleeve, and just letting it all hang out, right? He's like, this is how it is. I'm different at my house. They might have locked it down at their house, but Sebastian was allowed to play games at my house. I mean, why wouldn't you let him do something he loves to do, It's just crazy. Yeah, same pink eye watch, the same as the woman KP's mom in pink had on at the Wilson Center at Grandfather Mountain with the kid that looked like 100% Sebastian. That was a very uncanny resemblance, Kylie Ray. I will say that. It was very, very similar. Like, does Katie's mom have a twin kind of similar? There's been so many doppelgangers in this case, Hello, Detroit. So good to see you. Hey, good to have you here. So, aw, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, we've seen a lot of it. We've seen a lot of close looking like Sebastian sightings as well. We have, Kylie.
So it's like everybody on my PlayStation that are on my friends list.
Yeah.
I know personally. you know?
Gotcha.
So there's no way that he would have been talking to somebody without me knowing, because they're my friends. They're not his friends.
All right. So again, Seth is explaining that Sebastian has access, but it's limited. And he's trying to explain that to everybody because that's a big question always. What did somebody lure him offline, right? That's always a big question, especially when there's an active Amber Alert and people are keying into these things. It's March 11th, 2024, and people are keying in that something just isn't right here, right? The police are saying there's no foul play. All the parents have been cooperative, but then there's no scent, no video of Sebastian anywhere. Nothing. So we're all like scratching our heads, you know? And again, for this, I wanted to show you guys our Never a Truer Word analysis. It's just kind of like a little thumbnail that I put together. But what we're watching for in these interviews, right? The one was with Nancy Grace and Seth, and the other one was with Pollyanna Holly, Anna Thompson, and Chris and Katie, right? And so they're looking for repeated words and ideas, tenses, right? What tenses they're using, and hidden truths. And the conclusion for Chris and Katie is something happened that night. Okay, well, that's, yes, absolutely. Whatever it was caused uh, by Sebastian, or whatever it was that caused Sebastian to leave, right? Behavioral related, wider family involved, right? Boom, shakalaka, wider family involved. Don't see signs of guilty knowledge, right? Now, I do see signs of guilty knowledge, but in this particular interview, I wasn't keying into it as much with Katie as I was with Chris. But the thing is I didn't hear the Duchess for the missing interview yet. This was the first one I watched. So I had no idea. I knew it was weird as hell, and I was wondering why Katie was acting hysterically. But I also was keying more into Chris than Katie because I could tell he's just very arrogant, very controlling, very, lacked emotion, lacked comforting his wife. There was a lot of things that I was keying into Chris, really, really hard at first, because of his actions or lack of actions. The conclusion for Seth now: simple, consistent, direct. Boom. Another for our friend at Never a Truer Word. Boom shakalaka. All indicates truth and nothing hidden, apart from the lie detector questions, right? So we do know that Never a Truer Word wasn't sure about the lie detector questions, but we all kind of knew about it because we followed the case a little bit more. So I think they did a really good conclusion analysis. My top for both of these would be simple, consistent, direct for Seth. And then for Chris and Katie, it would have to be wider family involvement. Right? Those are just the boom moments when it's like, that's spot on. That's what it is, in my opinion. So let's keep listening.
Yeah. No,
I mean, they would call me up and be like, your son's on your account, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm sitting next to him. He's in his recliner. I'm in my recliner.
Right. You guys are spending time together.
He's playing there, and I'm on my phone playing Call of Duty, and he's on the PlayStation playing Modern Warfare.
Right on.
I mean, I know what he's doing because I'm right next to him.
Yeah.
So it's like any conversations or anything that he didn't have the headphones.
Right.
So, and it's a PS4, it's not a PS5, so it doesn't pick up your stuff through the remote or anything.
Yeah.
All right. So Seth is like telling us every friggin' detail, and I'm not going to name any creators because I don't want to hear about it. But this is the thing. There were multiple out there, big ones too, not little wee ones like this channel. I'm talking about these big ones out there that have covered many cases publicly. And they're out there like, oh my God, I can't believe Seth didn't tell us about this. just because they obviously didn't watch this interview. Because Seth is like literally telling us every freaking thing about every game console and everything we need to know. Unbelievable. Like, again, I'm just kind of mind blown. I don't know what you guys think, but when I'm watching this back, I'm like, well, he pretty much told us everything we needed to know. And, also, big shout out to Pascal for asking these questions, right? He was just kind of going with the flow of the call. The original reason that Seth called in was to thank Pascal, but I think that Seth was hoping that he would get a chance to tell us about Sebastian and the situation, and he was graciously answering questions and um, you know, being Seth, just being Seth.
So it's like only way he would have had contact with any of them is if he had had headphones on, and I made him not wear headphones because you're not going to talk to random people. You don't know who, and I explained to him, you don't know who these people are. They can tell you one thing, and they could be some guy that's like in his 50s or something looking for some kid.
Yeah, no kidding. Did he ever express any issues about his home environment at all?
Not at his mom. He never expressed anything about his mom and dad's stepfather's place.
Okay.
He liked the dogs. He was supposed to come live with me at the end of school. Summer break, he was supposed to move in with me full time. This is this is what both me and him have wanted for years now.
All right. So again, first interview with Pascal, and Seth is telling people, hey, look, he was supposed to come live with me. We were really excited for that to happen, and everything was doing all right, and I understand why Seth wouldn't just come out and start talking shit about the other side, right? I personally wouldn't do that. Unless I was like super convinced, which even though he seemed to have been, right? Because later on we hear that there were also some, here, as Katie would say, choice words were used, when Mama Socks is asking about the jewelry, and then, whenever Chris asks about, what if this goes south, and all the different little weird things. Lori's there before Seth, and Seth's like, well, I know, he kind of knows where Lori lives, right? So he's like, well, what? How is Lori here already? That's weird. So there was a lot of weird things, right? Also with the shoes, right? We know that Sebastian had boots, he had tennis shoes, he had an old pair of tennis shoes, and he had slides. Those were the shoes that were at the house. His feet were growing, according to Katie. And Seth confirmed that because that's why he bought him a new pair of boots, right? Because his feet were growing and they wanted to get him another different type of pair of boots. Katie had just bought him a new pair of shoes. And we can tell those New Balance shoes are newer, they're not old and ratty or anything like that. And again, I don't know how much they would take Sebastian to the park and stuff like that, but I don't know if he was using his old shoes, because I know that would be a thing too. I just don't know if he's grown out of them, why they would keep them around, but they might just be for play or something like that. I don't know. Either way, that was the shoes situation, and I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that they made, was the shoes.
I gotta find it so he can come live with me.
What are your thoughts as far as him vanishing in the way that he did vanish?
I'm missing something. Like I've stated since day one, none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
There's something missing out of this puzzle, and I don't know what it is. And I hope that law enforcement has figured out the missing piece so that they can bring my son back to me.
Did they happen to give you at least something that could be some semblance of a piece to a puzzle?
No, they're not including me in on. They tell me what they do, but they're not including me in on what they find.
I can only imagine. Deputy Sheriff, with all due respect, my apologies.
Sorry. Well, I take my oath to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Tennessee very, very dearly to my heart. As a deputy sheriff,
Yeah.
Okay, so So Seth also lets us know what he does for a living. He's a deputy sheriff, right? He was on the job that night, 12 hours. He worked a 12-hour shift. And so again, it was always odd to me because I knew right off the bat what Seth's job was, right? Because like I told you guys, I was watching this when he called in originally, and so I was like, well, are they not trying to look for Sebastian? I mean, I hate to say it, but I always figure they give each other special treatment a little bit, right? Back the blue and all that stuff. So what's up with this situation? And Sebastian's vulnerable. Um, Okay, so I want to show you guys this again because I know we were talking about this last night. But I want to show you guys how this all transpires. Again, just I'm going to mute it out, but talk over it. So here's, again, the yellow jacket coming out. We know he has a picture of Sebastian or what appears to be. Now, notice how they go straight out the doors, right? And then there's the pillar. So Sebastian's behind the pillar and Katie is right here where her foot is here. So he's going ahead of her. But then Katie catches up quickly because she's about to spin Sebastian around this ashtray. So I just want you guys to key into this area up here. And now she's going to swing him around, right? Is it because she sees the green hoodie? Because she's probably seeing the green hoodie at this point. She turns him around the ashtray here. And he starts walking, but notice this is his jawline. So this is his profile. He's walking straight forward, right, around this object, but his head is turned in the direction of the green hoodie, in my opinion. Straight shot. And he never takes his gaze off of whatever is happening in between Katie's car and the car next to her. And the best indication that we can get of what the green hoodie was doing is if we had this camera angle that's located right here. Right here.
The United States and the Constitution of Tennessee very, very dearly to my heart. As a deputy sheriff, that's what we're supposed to do, make sure people don't infringe upon people's constitutional rights.
When was the last time you had a conversation with Sebastian?
Thursday.
It was Thursday.
Thursday before he left.
You mean before he left?
Yeah.
Okay. So
before he left,
okay.
I mean, because he's gone.
Right.
I mean, he's gone.
Right.
He's left.
So,
but
how
he either
often
left the house of his own free will, or he didn't.
And I think too at this point that maybe Seth was, thinking, okay, Katie says he left, because she did. She kept saying he left. I don't know why he walked out the door. So I think he's still thinking, in a small way that Sebastian could have just left on his own free will, because it's a possibility. And like Kylie was saying here too, kids are sneaky, especially teenagers, right? Yeah, because they're asserting independence in different ways. So if something, sometimes something they wouldn't have done before, they would do it. And you're shocked. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, right? But they did. So we have to always consider that as a parent also. And then too, imagine being at work all night and then getting the message that don't be mad, 911, don't be mad, Sebastian's missing. It's enough to start swinging. Especially these days, yeah. Well, especially with the technology. But that's another thing too. They're expecting us to believe that Sebastian took nothing with him. Not even his money. Not even his phone. If he was going to leave that night, he could have grabbed his phone and Katie wouldn't have known. He could have went over there and unplugged it from the kitchen where it was and been out the door, out the window. But we know that didn't happen. Because he didn't pack a bag, he didn't bring shoes, didn't bring any changes of clothes, didn't bring anything he likes. I mean, it's just a tall tale sign. I can't tell you how many, reenactments I've seen right, from crime shows, and they're like, "Oh, her purse was left behind." And you're like, "Oh shit, foul play. Here we go. Somebody snatched this lady up, or somebody did something to her." It's like the Springfield 3, all their stuff was still at the house, but we're expected to believe that, they went someplace on their own. Nope, women don't leave without their purses, especially back in the day. People don't leave without their phones nowadays. We all have it, right? No jacket. No jacket. He didn't even take his eyes off of her. I mean, he kept watching like a hawk, Detroit. I was like, I have to overlay this, you know, um, especially because there wasn't a whole lot besides, Pascal talking, because Seth was it was just a call in. So I figured, you know what, let me put this over that and see what we can see in this again, because this is going to be like more green hoodie focused footage. But again, it's kind of what we've been talking about lately, and we can kind of watch again. It's just a real shame that we can't get a different angle on this. And I'm talking about the front door. The front door camera footage would be the best to understand what happened in the foyer, what happened in the door, what happened with the green hoodie in between the cars. Does no one have that footage? Where's the footage? I'm about to go nuts. I swear. Because there's so many cameras in there, you guys. I mean, I showed you guys, but it's just unbelievable when I think about it. But but he has his glasses and non-working flashlight. I know. Exactly. That's one reason why I think a little bit too, like, maybe he didn't make it home because he was already wearing his glasses, and maybe they forgot. Maybe they forgot about his glasses. Hmm. You know? Janet says, "Green hoodie, Kathy Bauer sucks." Just asking. I don't think so. No. I don't think and somebody was asking me as well, and thank you for that email as well, that I answered back earlier today. So I don't think it's Lori, right? Lori kind of is olive complected and dark features. Um, and she is also fluffier. I'm just gonna say fluffier, right? Because I'm not trying to bash anybody. But here's the thing. It's odd that she was there, and I want to know what is going on with Lori. But no, I don't think she's the green hoodie. I don't know that we'll ever get a good identification on the green hoodie until we can get a good picture of said person, the shim. And Coffee Time and Cat says, I don't run to Wendy's without my phone. Yeah, and my purse. It's 5 minutes away. Exactly. I take my phone everywhere I go, everywhere. I do not leave home without it. And sometimes I have two phones. That's how bad it is, because I'm working between phones and, oh, Crazy Bird says, no coat, no shoes, no money, no phone, no game. Right? The switch. No game means foul play. I think so. It doesn't tell me that he was going anywhere far, right? And he just got that brand new pair of boots that he loved. Hmm. Janet says, hair changes all the time, then straight, then curly. Kathy Bowersock still thinking it's her. Um, she just also has darker features as well. But I mean, she could dye her hair. I don't know. Look, again, I'm not trying to be a jerk. We all have weird features. Again, people are like, my nose is like super small, right? And that's something that's identifiable on me and my face, right? Kathy Bauer Socks has like a Jay Leno chin, right? Like it's a very long chin, and it's like a Cruella DeVille chin. So I'm just gonna say that. Don't come for me. Don't think that I'm just, throwing shade. What I'm saying is that is how her chin is shaped that way. you know, Own it, rock it, love it, you know. But those are the identifiers. Some people have extremely large, ears. um, you know, So it's Conan, Bo. It's Conan. I mean, it looks just like, okay, so if the green hoodie is a man, my vote would be Conan O'Brien or uh, William Christopher Guy, which I still can't rule out William Christopher Guy. And I still can't rule out because now you guys really got me tripping last night when we're watching the footage and it literally looks like a man when she's walking up and then, which I've always thought that, but then when we see her like emerge from the vehicle, it looks like a woman who has put on it's like before and after, like a magical time machine, and she comes out a woman and a little bit fluffier. Um it's like, what are they trying to do to us? Like sometimes I feel like I'm in an alternate reality with this case. So does Conan, Kylie. He's got the swoop, baby girl, right? He's got the big swoop. He jumped up out of bed and grabbed his glasses first, of course, and would have put something on his feet. I always have something by my bed, slip-ons, flip-flops, something. Yeah, that's why his slides were in there. That's why his slides were in there, Detroit. And that's the thing about Sebastian too. He liked to wear his slides. So I will say that you just made me think of something, Detroit. So if Sebastian's slides were in his room, and if they were like near his bed, where those are like his house shoes that he keeps by his bed, right? And he slips them on when he's, say he's got to, use the bathroom or something or whatever. But say he took them off and hopped into bed. Now that would make me think that he made it home and he hopped into bed after he got out of his slides. Now, did they put his slides in there to make it look like he went to bed that night? And again, why did they go to Seth's and toss Sebastian's room? I don't get that either. That's weird that they'd go over to a 15-year-old autistic kid's house who it's his dad's house. He didn't even go missing from there and they toss his room. Like, that's always been really weird to me, too. Like, what were they expecting to find at Seth's? I mean, you look under the bed, in the closets. I mean, Sebastian's 5'5". It's not like he's a tiny kid, you know? So I can't see her coming from Virginia either. No, I don't know, but I will say maybe she knows. See, the thing about Katie's mom is it is one of those things to consider because of the network of nasty people that like to hurt kids, right? Those Chester Cheetahs of the world. And she knows other Chester Cheetahs of the world because that's how they pass around CSAM, right? Child S material. It's not corn because there's no consent whatsoever. So it's CSAM. That's what we're going to call it. And the Chester Cheetahs of the world, they know how to get it to everybody that they know that likes that. Because it's disgusting. And most people, even hardened criminals, don't put up with that mess. So I still wonder about that side of the family, but I do know that Seth has checked out leads pertaining to that side, and it does appear that at night scared the crap out of Yada, right? I mean, really got her goat. So yeah, yes, she does. And that's the thing why I don't think it's Katie's mom either, is because and her thighs aren't thick, witchy. Her thighs are not the green hoodies thighs are not thick. It's like Katie's mom is pear shaped. So when you're pear shaped, you do have like bigger hips and thighs, right? Which is it's not a bad thing. It's fine. It's whoever we are. But I also think her chest is bigger as well. Because us ladies that have bigger chests, like you put a hoodie on and it's like, yeah, you can see if you're a little bit more flat chested, that's why from afar she kind of looks like a dude, unless they did a switcheroo, but that's like me putting my freaking tinfoil hat on, you know? Not my thinking cap, but I mean, anything's possible. I wonder if Katie's back is a hatchback. Crap, you guys really got me tripping with switching of people here because they do look completely different, you know? See, and Kathy lost a lot of weight too, though. But at this time, she was heavier. Yeah. It's always her chin for me. She's got a very distinctive chin. So, hello, little Miss Sharon. Good to see you. Hey, Andrea. Welcome in, guys. So, I was really surprised Yada flip-flop like she did. Me too, lover girl. And I mean, I will say Yada gave us a lot of clarity. And she was, in my opinion, very honest in her analysis. What she later did when she flipped is when she started lying, in my opinion. Hey, Rachel. So, oh, okay. You're saying, in my opinion, end of the car, rear tire is a foot, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. Like, the thing is we can't really tell what's happening, on the driver's side back door here. So did they like crawl into Katie's vehicle and switcheroo? That's the only logical explanation for it not looking like the same person, but it also could be the camera angle. So I need that friggin' footage. I just need to get that footage. If anybody can leak me that footage, ladyfreedomsrawnarratives@gmail.com. Your secret is safe with me. I will never reveal your identity. Oh my gosh. Because I think that's what holds the key, guys. I mean, this footage is great to see what Sebastian is doing, but um the other, and also to see that the yellow jacket, like if we wouldn't have had this camera angle, we would have never saw that Sebastian's picture was showing up on his phone. So, but I still want more. I want more because we can't decipher it, you know? Yes, yes, that was KP's mom singing happy birthday to a kid about people. Hopefully it wasn't a little girl. And that's the thing about Katie's mom. And then we also have to remember that with these Chester cheetahs of the world, they usually have a preference. Oh, they're disgusting. But you will usually see them reoffend with the same type of child, if we can just say it like that. And you guys got to know what I mean by that. So, but then again, some of them are sickos and they don't care. It doesn't matter to them. Um, you know, But again, like I said, there could be people that have those same, proclivities that are known, and that would take Sebastian, you know? So, yeah, no worries, Rachel. It's okay. It's night court. We start cussing in night court. Sometimes during the day court, I just let her rip too. It just depends. Oh, standing at the back of her car. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, but we can see the back. Now, it's hard to see the other side, and I would think if the hatchback or something opened up, we would see it. You know, again, I'm trying to bring logic to this, but I think I think it's just weird how it seems like a freaking magic act or something, or an illusion, a sleight of hand, Big chin and nose, very distinctive features. Yeah, thank you, Detroit. Yeah, because I'm not trying to say, anything bad, but yeah, I mean, and then when she got really skinny, she does look like Corella, and I was like, oh damn. Um, Lover Girl says Chris seems to have the weird power over women where he can get them to do and say anything. Blech. Lover Girl, I agree though. It's wild and should be studied. Yada seemed to fall under his spell. I think a lot of it is fear. I think a lot of it is fear that you're noticing, Glover Girl, because I noticed it too, but I'm like, ugh, it's like so disgusting to think about it. But also Chris can be charming when he wants to be. And that's the scariest thing about a narcissist is that they're very charming and they're very manipulative and they're very convincing. And if they can't convince you, then that's when they get angry and then they instill the fear because of the control. And I think that the fear factor for Yada was that she's seen how Chris has blown up in the past. And when she felt like, she wasn't getting enough attention from the green team or whatever, how she wanted to put it, I think that was where she was like, well, now I have no choice and I'm going to go over there for protection, which is so weird. And again, a lot of it too, guys, um, and this is a very unfortunate phenomena, but with these high profile cases, people want to be in the limelight and they want their 15 minutes of fame. And if they don't get enough of that, or they feel like it's dying down, they want more attention. Sometimes they just come out and, wish for attention. Um, so again, I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, Chris is a womanizer. Um, he is. And if he thinks that he can't get control of you that way, he turns to the narcissistic rage. Chris rages out more than I've ever seen a narcissist. Usually, narcissists are very, and you don't have to fit every single criteria, but in my opinion, narcissists like Chris are rare because many times they're very worried about their public persona because their very fragile ego cannot take anyone thinking bad of them. They always want people to think that they're, the shit. And so with Chris, it's odd that he comes out and rages in public because a lot of times that rage happens behind closed doors or they'll threaten you privately. It's like what Chris did with Heather Cohen. If Seth opens his mouth, effing mouth again, it won't ever effing open, blah, 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 blah. Right? He's saying all of that stuff behind the scenes. He didn't know that was going to come out. But that's how nasty he can be. I mean, nasty. That's how nasty he can be. And we see that, right? We've been able to peek into that. The worst was when he went off on BJ. Hey, Ann Brock. Because he started speaking in tongues. Okay? Dude, that was some scary shiz. Because I'm religious. So when I hear that and it's not of God, ooh, watch out. I mean, that was creepy as hell. You know? Which he says, maybe Detroit on my SUV, I can turn the back lights off and switch on the light, and then they will stay on when the hatch is open. Oh. Uh, the thought met mob, my hair's raised. I just think it's like super weird how this person looks different. I just do. And I mean, I think it would be worth looking into. Little Miss Sharon. Little Miss Sharon says, I'm not buying his bullshit. No, she says CP is a man who can manipulate certain women, in my opinion, right? You have to know what you're dealing with, Little Miss Sharon. And I think, a lot of times once you realize those traits and characteristics and you see them, it's like you're like, I don't know, it's like a shield of protection, like you already know, right? You've dealt with this kind of a person, you know. Some people are covert narcissists. Those are a little bit harder to, figure out. They use a lot of tactics like they're very passive aggressive. They're very passive aggressive. So they'll get you back, but they won't they won't do it directly, they're cowards. Witchy Mama says they will gaslight you till you don't even believe your own thoughts. Boom. Exactly. And gaslighting is a huge part of this. And that's why, like with the Web Sleuths interview, I did the Gaslight movie, the actual old movie, right? Black and white, talking about gaslighting the lady, right? And she's like thinking that she's nuts. And that's what they do. It's called crazy making behavior because they're absolutely making you crazy. Like they're driving you mad, and they're doing it through gaslighting. And things that you're doing, they'll put it, or excuse me, things that they're doing, they'll project it onto you. And you're like, but you just did that to me. And so so it's a total mind fuck. It really is. And it's sometimes really effective, especially when they're brainwashing and they're using those tactics as well. Thanks, lover girl. Yeah, it's just because I fell for it, I fell for a narcissist, a very malignant type like this one. Um, yeah, and manipulative, fallen rug addicts, recover rug addicts, in my opinion, allegedly, right? Little Miss Sharon, yeah. Well, and then again, they'll guilt you too, and they'll be like, "Well, I thought you loved me," and then they like to hoover you back, discard, hoover. What's the new platform creators are using called? I have no idea. I did get a kick because I can multi-stream from StreamYard. So I'm gonna start doing that because I think that's cool, and I wanna do Facebook as well. But there's several out there, Rachel. There's a bunch of them out there. So, hello, Ann Brock. Good to see you. Good to see you if I missed you. Not that comment, the lemons and the socks comment I'm talking about. Sorry, I must have missed something there, guys. Chris clearly ordered Clue to take that live down so no one can see who he really is. I was disturbed by the things he said, particularly about a baby. Yeah, that was super creepy. Like, he is very much a weirdo when it comes to children, and I think a lot of it has to do with because he feels like he can use punishment to inflict pain and suffering on the kids, in my opinion. Um, I did do a video where I did a comparison of, because Seth also went up there and was like reading him the riot act after that, that little performance he did. But Seth was addressing what he was saying, and so I made sure that I combine those so that way when people go back and watch the video, they'll understand why Seth is calling him the little bitch that he is. So I wanted to document that properly. But yeah, it was scary, and I'm sure he did instruct her to take it down. And that's the thing, that even though Seth might not agree with everything, I ever have to say, that's because I would never expect that. That will never happen. Um, Hey, Marion. Oh, good night, Marion. Thank you for being here. She says, fellow dragons, I'm getting off here. I'm tired. See you soon. Aw, good night, Marion. Thank you for being here. Yeah, and yes, sweet dreams. You guys are sweet. So yeah, I mean, I think Seth would rather tell me he doesn't like something, but he wouldn't tell me to take something down. Ever. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was, like, highly offensive or something that I probably needed to, but, it's just never happened like that. I find it interesting that they put that type of, again, with Chris Proudfoot projecting that onto Seth, when he does that with the creators that he works with, but Seth doesn't do that with the creators or me particularly. I mean, I don't know why it would be any different, right? I mean, I'm not. And so it's just weird. that they put that onto him, or that Chris tries to put that onto him, you know? So, aw, thank you, Andrea. She's like, Andrea's like, oh gosh, ladies playing Pascal. That's all. That's some old news. No, I mean, I just found it so different, you know, that well, looking back on it, it's like I can't believe how much information Seth gave us right off the bat. And maybe I should have been listening a little better myself. So here we go, you know. But no, Andrea, I know you're working so hard. Aw. I'm glad you're here when you can be. Yeah. Well, and what you're doing is really important because I know you're passionate and I know you're going to make a big difference. So, hell yeah, girl, you get it. And Faith summer visits. Yeah, I know. It's summer and Christmas to the best of my knowledge for the parenting plan. I wonder if CP and Nina ever went to court. So, to the best of my knowledge, they did. And I don't think it's ever gone like the way that Chris wanted it to, as far as I can tell. Um, but we're gonna get more into Nina, and I'll probably do another video on her interview. Um, because the way that the Foot Clan has moved historically, in my opinion, is very important for us to remember, especially when we're looking at this Texas Roadhouse video, which is absolutely bizarro. Where I believe that Yellow Jacket has a picture of Sebastian that was taken at the table, or some sort of a video that was sent to him. It comes into focus clearly. Um, and then we have the green hoodie who's waiting. So I do think that there could be something weird with green hoodie where she was looking into Katie's car, but why would you go up to somebody um, instead of telling them, get away from my car and backing up from the situation? You know, or something like that. To me, she again is going to, and we're going to see it again here. She is going to meet the green hoodie, move Sebastian around the ashtray. He goes to the car, never breaks his gaze on the situation, and Katie goes and pushes the green hoodie further back. And what was she doing? Why did she accost the green hoodie, and why was the green hoodie waiting at her car? I mean, legitimate questions. I just don't think that there's more involved than these two when it comes to what was going down at the Texas Roadhouse. I also think the jig was up with the green hoodie and they had to change the plan around at the last minute because of Green Hoodie's actions. And I think that's what caused the commotion if Green Hoodie has involvement. I can't say for 100% she does or doesn't. It just the way the way that this person interacted with Katie and Sebastian, and how Sebastian was watching, and how there was a commotion and everybody saw it who was outside, is very, very, very curious to me, and I want to know more about it. And again, this is the only person, Green Hoodie, some rando from the Texas Roadhouse, is the only person that has ever been cleared by Sumner County Sheriff's Office in the Sebastian Rogers case in 2 years. Over 2 years.
You know, if he went outside, I don't know what happened to him. I called him Thursday, and I'll call him on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because he's with his mom.
Right.
That way, when I have him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's just a mutual thing. Other than that, normally I would call him every day or every other day at about 3:30, because he would be home from school by then and either be working on his homework, or if he didn't have any homework, he was doing chores that his mom had him doing. And I would call him to ask him how school was. Normally we would talk for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, you know, and it was routine. Call him up, how was school? You know, Did your mama leave you any chores?
Yeah.
You know,
They
let's get
threw.
them done. I would pick him up on Fridays on my weekend. I would pick him
Gotcha.
up. I'd be waiting at their house when he got off the bus.
I see. But this weekend was not
So
your weekend. Or this particular weekend was not your weekend. Right?
No, that was his mama's weekend.
When did Chris go to Memphis? Do you have any knowledge of that? When he actually left for that?
Okay, so Pascal, and I'll rewind a bit. Pascal is asking now about where Chris was, right? Everybody wants to know the whereabouts of everyone in the situation. Bottom line, Katie was the only one in the house, allegedly, with Sebastian when he went poof, right? So we're trying to get to the bottom of things. But I think it's interesting that Seth tells us that it was a routine, that when it was his weekend, he would meet Sebastian over at the house, probably to grab his overnight stuff, right? Or his weekend bag. After Sebastian got off the bus, he would walk home. Seth would be there. They'd make their way out of town, right? We know later that Sebastian had the door code, so he would punch that code in, go in, grab his stuff, and they would be on their merry way, right, for the weekend. So I just kind of want to point that out, that again, Seth is giving us very important details about Sebastian, right? Like, and he's also explaining it to us as if Sebastian is just a regular kid, a latchkey kid, right, who's used to doing these things. All right, time to go to dad's house, right? Get off the bus, punch in the code, grab my stuff, lock the door behind myself, like Katie says, and get in the car and go, right? Every other weekend. So that was always out there. So we heard Seth saying something completely different than what Chris and Katie were saying, right? Complete polar opposites. That raised a lot of red flags as well.
This weekend was not your weekend. Or this particular weekend was not your weekend. Right?
No, that was his mama's weekend.
When did Chris go to Memphis? Do you have any knowledge of that? When he actually left for that job on Monday?
Well, I don't think he left Monday. I think he...
All right. He goes, well, I don't think he left Monday.
He'd already been there all week.
I think he'd already been there all week, right? All weekend.
So he was out there all weekend. From what you so he was gone all week.
Right. He was gone all week and then the whole weekend too, allegedly, according to what Seth thinks at this time.
I believe so.
You believe so? Okay.
Normally, I believe so, because normally if I have him, Sebastian's mom would go to Memphis. If I had Sebastian over the weekend, she would normally go to Memphis.
Did you hear what the man said? I'll play it again. Whoops. Let's go here.
I believe so.
You believe so? Okay.
Normally, I believe so, because normally if I have him, Sebastian's mom would go to Memphis. If I had Sebastian over the weekend, she would normally go to Memphis.
All right. So if I had Sebastian over the weekend, she would normally go to Memphis. Why was there so much confusion when we have someone who is so direct? I really don't get it, besides the circus that was caused by Chris and Katie and their lies.
Sebastian disappeared sometime Sunday night, Monday morning. There's evidence, there's video proof of Sebastian with Katie Sunday evening.
Are there cameras in the house?
All right, so there's video footage of Sebastian and Katie that evening, and that prompts Pascal to say, oh, do they have cameras like in their house or outside around their house? And then listen to what Seth says.
Or around the actual house?
They went to dinner.
Gotcha.
They went to dinner, right? But did the police gather every bit of footage that they could have from this Texas Roadhouse? Because they should have, right? But we just don't know that. But at this time, they must have told Seth that. Well, they went to dinner, and we saw them on camera where they said they went to dinner.
I just ask people, keep your head up and your eyes open. If you see him, please call 911. You know, if he's hungry, give him some food. If you see him outside your house, do not let him in your house. Call 911. Get him something to eat. Get him something to drink.
Can I ask?
I'm pretty sure he's starving.
Right. Was there any possible medication that he took that could give him some sort of mental break or some sort of psychotic break where he would just wander off without shoes on in the middle of the night?
I have no idea. I've asked TBI and Sumner County to check to see if that is, and nothing.
And he's never done anything like this before, correct?
Well, and you know what? I will just say that we know, and I play it every single night in my intro, that Sheriff Craddock didn't believe that Sebastian left without shoes. He said, I'm not going to say he's barefoot. Sheriff Craddock, Snuggle Struggles, said it.
Check to see if that is, and nothing.
And he's never done anything like this before, correct?
Cool. Yes, sir.
Okay. Not out of spite or out of anger, out of protest. He's never done anything like just leave or walk off or anything like that, out of just being a teenager with angst.
I love my son. I love my son a lot, and I have thoroughly aggravated him at different points in times.
Of course.
Because I'm his dad.
I was going to say, you're not a dad if you're not doing that. You know what I mean?
And he has never once walked out my front door. No matter how mad I've made him, you know, he has stormed off to his room. He has sat there and, I don't want to talk to you. And I'm like, well, you can get over it. I'm your dad.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to you whether you want to talk to me or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You giving me an attitude? Go load the dishwasher.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Your attitude ain't going to stop the fact that you live in this house and there's things that need to be done.
Yeah.
You know, I've taught him that don't let people get you mad or angry.
Yeah.
You know, that's you losing control as them having control over you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And when Seth tells a story like this about what he would tell Sebastian and how to handle situations in life, right? Because that's life advice, life situations. You deal with a lot of people as we go through this life, and you know, there's some difficult people out there. There's some people that don't like you, and so they razz you or try to piss you off or whatever they're trying to do. But he says, you know, you're giving them the control once they get that rise out of you. So don't let them do that to you. Don't let people get you, right? And so I think that's really strong advice. But I also think that knowing what we know now, we can see that Sebastian was absolutely getting his batteries recharged when he'd go see his dad, right? He'd have the freedom, he'd have the good advice, he'd have somebody who cares for him, he'd have somebody who had patience with him, he had somebody who would do fun things with him, right? And Seth seems like there was times where he was strict on Sebastian, right? Make sure your room's clean, you know, go load the dishwasher, things like that. But that's normal, in my opinion. It wasn't always inflicting, you know, pain onto him. And again, Seth and Sebastian had a very strong relationship because of the fact that Seth was a single dad at times, even when he was married to Katie, because Katie was deployed, right? So he was the one with Sebastian 24/7. You know, Katie's not coming home after work every night. You know, she's gone. She's away. So again, they built that bond. So in my opinion, I think that Sebastian was recharging his batteries, and I think he was also just probably always reminding himself, like, pretty soon I'm going to go live with my dad. And that's how he was getting through a lot of it. But I think it was just getting so bad because they were saying, even back in 2022, in the fall of 2022, that they couldn't take Sebastian anymore. We can't take him anymore. We don't want to deal with him anymore. There's too many issues, right? Can he come live with you? That sort of stuff.
You know, don't be like that. Be better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He you know, because I understand that he's autistic. I love him no matter what.
Yeah.
But I also understand that kids are cruel, especially in schools.
That they are.
We all did with that. If you weren't the popular one, you could be made fun of or whatnot. And I wanted him to already have an understanding that those people that do that are just insecure. And they're wanting control or power over you. And you getting angry gives them that. But if you look at them and just smile and brush it off,
yeah,
because it ain't worth it. Their opinion is not worth it.
Kill them with kindness, right?
Or food, school food, either one. I watched a podcast. I watched a podcast earlier, and you said you'd be back on at 8:00.
Yes, sir.
And I watched your podcast a couple days ago because you're keeping my son's face out there. You're keeping his name out there. And the more that we can do that, the less likely it will become a cold case.
Absolutely.
My son will become a cold case. I want him found.
We have an army behind you, sir. People are putting in a lot of green heart emojis in the chat right now. People are really showing a lot of love. Discerning just said, we in Hendersonville are behind you, Seth. We are with you. They're praying with you.
Okay, guys. And again, I just wanted to point out that local influence and the local people that were coming out and saying, Seth, we're behind you, right? And they also were side-eyeing Chris and Katie really hard, guys. They were not thinking that everything was okay at all, locally. Lover Girl says, well, if Katie said they had an argument and he left, that would make sense. But she acts like it was perfect. It was a perfect day with no conflict. That's why him walking out never made sense to begin with. Exactly. And they said that a lot, right? I don't know why he walked out that door. And make more sense if we've been fighting. And Sebastian wasn't even in trouble, Chris says, right? So again, it's very bizarre. It's like they use the defense like, we're just as baffled as you are. He just disappeared. He vanished. It's like, but that's impossible. We don't disappear. We don't vanish. So that's off the table. Everything else is. Like, where were you, Chris? And hey, Katie, what happened? Right? And then we get this manufactured story that's only 52% truthful. You know? And it doesn't look like Sebastian is the type to argue, or at least he's not arguing here. And again, with this footage, I wanted you guys to zone in, but I just wanted to show you guys that from the time I don't have it zoomed in all the way. This is 6:20, almost 6:21, right? And then it's going to zoom in here soon. And I want you to watch because Katie is telling Sebastian something also. The conversation simmers down from the whole fork bit and the eating of the potatoes and the, using the hands like, a mom would, pointing at him, right? The reality, not the TBI narrative, but actually what happened, right? All of those little still shots that we always examine here, right? This is after that. This is when they're about to leave. This is about 3 minutes. This is 3 minutes before they walk out that door, right? And I want you to watch this interaction because again, Katie is telling Sebastian something that he doesn't want to hear and that he doesn't agree with. And it appears to me when I was watching it again earlier, it looks like Sebastian is looking around the restaurant like, almost like he's feeling the anxiety of being stuck in that booth and what he was just being told. And again, this is just what I noticed today. It's like it's setting in for him and he almost wants to like run, but he doesn't. So I just want to point that out because you will see Sebastian start looking around the restaurant after something is said. And again, I think she does bring something up that he doesn't want to talk about, something that maybe they were talking about earlier, and it's being revisited while she's paying for the check. And there's so many red flags, Janet. Yeah. I think a lot of it is the corruption and the money. I think a lot of it is because um, Mama Socks, right? She likes to make donations, charitable donations, courtesy of Cruella DeVille. Hey, Valley Gal says, in my opinion, she waited way too long to claim her and walked out, or claim he walked out. Yeah, I would think so too. Yeah. I mean, I think if I look are you talking about, well, I'll just say this, Valley Gal, are you talking about like to report Sebastian missing? Because I kind of think it's fast reporting. If they would have maybe waited like an hour or so, I might think, where they call everybody and they check everything. I mean, for them to do it all in what, 20, 30 minutes after she discovers he wasn't in his bed where he should be, his slides are by his bed like like he hopped into bed. I don't know. So, yes, lady, that's what I was talking about last night. Yeah, yeah, I wanted to pull that in Detroit because I was like, I think this is where, because it's like after what they were talking about, right? And she's paying the check, and it was after that. Yeah, I wanted to see what you guys think of this because it's different, right? Like thinking about how they were just having some heated conversation, but then also right before they leave. So I don't know. And it just doesn't seem like Sebastian is resisting, but it seems like it's something that he does not want to do. Like he's very nervous, like he wants to book out of there. So here we go.
Okay. So
I appreciate it. I really do.
we are all here. We're all on the same team. We are rooting for you. We just care about the truth.
All right, guys. So, like I said, all I did was zoom in. And do you see Sebastian's head raises? Because Katie says something to him. Here we go again. So,
I really do.
We are at 3 minutes before they leave about.
We are all here. We're all on the same team. We are rooting for you.
See, his head was down. And now he slowly raises his head up.
Just care about the truth. We care about transparency, and we care about justice, and we care about getting him home.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you.
Now, I don't know what Katie does over here, right? But it looks like something. And Sebastian's still, again, watching her. I think maybe she's getting her debit card out.
And I appreciate you, okay? I know you probably need some sleep. It's probably been a long day. Go rest those feet. Go get properly hydrated, all right? And hopefully we will talk very, very soon with some good news. All right?
What I'm praying for. Thank you. Thank you again.
Anytime, brother. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, there goes Katie. She's swiping her card, right? Sebastian looked over here once, right? But he's going to continue to look around the restaurant and kind of take in his surroundings. Hey, little brat. Okay, guys, and I think I'm just going to put this because I know there's music back to it. So again, Sebastian really looks defeated here. Um, and also, little Miss Sharon, Seth had me crying in this interview. He did. He did. I was like, oh my gosh, you know. Good to see you, little brat. Yeah, I mean, he was very heartfelt and genuine, and just thanking Pascal, and I think that was a lot of the reason why people were very much happy to have um very much happy to have Seth on the panels and to help him out and to help spread the word is because of Seth's genuine, heartfelt thank yous and his direct giving of information. It was just very refreshing to see. And I think a lot of people realized, oh my gosh, so Sebastian does have a father who really cares about him, right? Because Katie was saying that his father is a good father, told that to Holly Thompson prior to this, right? And said if he ever had anything, he'd be in the front row, that he has a good relationship with his father. And then we see Seth, and it's like, oh, thank God, because I was wondering about the other two, right? That's what I was thinking. But he also, had me emotional because of the way that he did this call in. And I think it was very good for Sebastian's case in terms of getting people interested in Sebastian and finding him. I think it was paramount to why it got as big as it did, Chris and Katie. So I know that probably really chapped your ass because you didn't think it was going to get this big, did you? That's what you said, not me. Just remember that. Detroit says, why didn't she call Seth's job immediately to see if Sebastian called him or did he pick him up? That bothers me. I know. I would have thought to do that first too, Detroit. I would have. I mean, even if I called my husband first, say I decided to call my husband first, I would call my ex husband second, right? Because that would be a place to check if, have you heard from our daughter, right? I have a daughter, not a son, so I can't use that analogy, right? But not directly at least, but I have a child, so I know, and it is my only child, right? So when it's your only child, that's all you're responsible for, and you're like, wait a minute, what? So, and you're not expecting that, and especially because Sebastian's 15, right? Just turned 15. That is a pretty rocky age, until they kind of get out on their own. It's a little rocky for those teenage years, and so you're like thinking to yourself, well, I'll be damned, maybe he did decide to, like, take off, right? So you don't know what to think. But I would have thought that, and I did think that in the beginning, Detroit. I thought, okay, so Holly Thompson said, to Chris and Katie, can he get to his dad's house? Does he know how to get to his dad's house? And they're like, yeah. His dad lives in Clarksville, but he knows how to get there. And so she's like, oh, so he's good at directions. And then they're like, well, familiar routes, right? And then Mr. Stepfoot chimes in and he says, oh, yeah, his dad's real good about working with him on going left, right, here and this, that, and the other, and showing him how to get to places. So I was thinking, well, did he maybe take off to his dad's house? They need to be checking that route, right? Like a route that he may walk. But then we realized that he didn't have any shoes on. So if he didn't have any shoes on, he couldn't have made it far. Not in them woods, not in Tennessee. No. No, no, no. I recommend boots for one. And I think Sebastian, living there as long as he did, knew that too, right? Also, he doesn't like to be dirty. And then he took a keychain flashlight that didn't work. I mean, it all bothers me too, Detroit. But yeah, you're very right, Yeah, exact. Little Miss Sharon says yes, Lady Freedom. Aw, we never ever heard that in Katie Proudfoot. I know, in KP. Yeah, I know. And I think that if it wasn't for Seth, Sebastian's story wouldn't have gotten out there like that. They would have made sure that it fell to the bottom of the feed. Let's just be honest, they didn't even want to come out and talk. They didn't. They wanted it to go away, in my opinion, you know? Yeah, they didn't want their names out there or anybody filming their home. Yes, exactly, Valley Gal. Yeah. And people were like, "What? Why?" You know? Or have you heard from Sebastian before 911? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. At least, right? Oh, I missed your first comment. Sorry, little Miss Sharon says, exactly. I have said that from the start as my autistic teen went to walk about many times and I always found her before I rang the police. Yeah, and she didn't I don't know that she looked long enough to do all of that, right? But we also know that little Miss KK was riding with the windows up. And we also know that even if our pet is missing, we're gonna roll our windows down and yell, Fluffy, Fido, Rex, where you at, buddy? Start whistling. I'm not the best whistler. But you get my drift. I mean, you have the friggin' windows. You're not rolling through town with the windows rolled up, right? You're not rolling through town at a rate of speed that you wouldn't be able to thoroughly look. I mean, think about it. You went into your child's room, if this is true, which we know it's not, in my opinion, but think about it. You wake up, you go to your kid's room, you're still groggy, you got one eyeball open, you're like, hey, wait, what a minute. Oh, then you got both eyeballs open, right? Where's my kid? They're damn near popping out of your head, right? Where's my child? Wait a minute, what? And then you go out with your windows rolled up. No way. You would be a little bit frantic at that point. I might be shaking a little bit and thinking, "Oh my god, where the hell is my child?" Right? I might be checking the windows. I might be checking to see did somebody come in the middle of the night, right? And maybe that's because I've seen, Elizabeth Smart's case. Maybe that's because we've seen the true crime cases where people have come and snatched kids out of their rooms. I'm not saying that part it can't happen or is impossible, but here's the thing, there would have been some evidence of that. We know the cameras would have picked it up. We know that there's only one way to lock a window, and that's from the inside, not the outside, right? Was anything tampered with on the exterior of the home? You would look at that too. You'd be asking the neighbors, which allegedly Katie did do some of that. But you wouldn't be rolling around with your windows rolled up. That is so suspicious. And anybody that wants to get their panties in a twist about somebody questioning that really needs to get some common sense. We need to get that common sense rolling because it's not, it's not rolling. It's just sitting there, not being used. So get it going. Um, yeah, those roads are not. And the thing is again too, Sebastian's allergic to grass. I feel like, I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I don't know about you guys, but the kid's allergic to grass. Oh, yeah, he just walked out there with no shoes on. He's fine. Well, that's mainly what he would have to do in that neighborhood is walk on the grass because there's not really like areas. And then he would still have to walk on the grass when he gets out of the neighborhood because it would be like more like debris and rocks and the side of the road, Long Hollow Pike. So if he was walking down Long Hollow with no shoes on, he wouldn't make it very far in either direction. Then his house, on top of that, his house is surrounded by wooded areas. And again, he would have been caught on camera had he been out in the neighborhood to begin with. So again, I just want to play this back again because we kind of got off a little. But so Sebastian's looking defeated, head down. And you can see that he's kind of messing around, maybe fidgeting with his fingers. Now, when she says something else because all of a sudden he's going to look back up again. And if she didn't say something, maybe it's just him again. He seems very nervous now. He's shifting around in his seat. He's got his head all the way down. He's looking at his fingernails, right? You could also notice down here his feet. All right, Katie slides the plate over and she's still messing with this. You can see that she taps off the screen. He looks back at his mom, but now he starts looking around the restaurant. And he's just looking around. Now he's kind of looking to the side, and he could just be observing and people watching. I like to do that myself. I enjoy it. But it's something different, and he's just kind of looks, in my opinion, like he's nervous. He's kind of looking around, then he notices this guy, okay, he walks by. There's gonna be a pretty girl like kind of in a like a tube top or something that walks by, and I think he does notice her. But he still looks very nervous. Oh, here's the girl. She walks by again. I'm sure, he's like, oh, she's cute. And then, you got another lady that walks by. He's kind of staring off. Katie's doing something on here. I don't know what she's doing, but it appears like she already paid. I don't know if she's taking a survey or what the hell she's doing. Again, Sebastian starts fidgeting with his fingers. And that's often, a sign of nerves. I know that because I do have that issue with my fingers. I will mess with my fingers. So he looks like he's upset, in my opinion, just the way he's hanging his head down. And again, there may be some overstimulation. There are a lot of people like passing by and that sort of thing. But again, I don't think that's really bothering him. I think whatever was said to him when I zoomed in. But again, this goes on for about 2 minutes. And he just seems to be pondering things, right? Now he's looking around. Almost like he wants to like leave the table, like he's thinking about an out or something. Hey, Veronica. Maybe the TVs. There's TVs over by the bar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. How could you yell from the inside of your car? What's the point of that? But it's gonna be muffled. She was flying by too. Apparently she was going too fast. You know, she wasn't even going slow enough to look for anybody. Because in my opinion, she wasn't really looking. Oh, okay. And then guys, I just want to show you guys this really quick when it pops over because I just put the timestamp quick back in there. Right. And this is supposed to be 1822. Sorry, let me do this one more time. But I don't know. He appears to be pretty nervous in my opinion. But yeah, you can see the timestamp again. Um, so he was sitting there for a good little bit, kind of pondering what the heck was going on, what he was being told perhaps, or what was being discussed was setting in for him. I'm not really quite sure what it really was. Um, so yeah, she did. Yeah, she came. I'll just say this. No, she didn't stand on the porch and yell for him. Coffee, crime, and cats. What was alleged is that she came outside and she was yelling for Sebastian, right? But she was like walking around the exterior of the home, and then one of her neighbors apparently, allegedly, was outside, and she explained to her, I can't find Sebastian, kind of thing. But no, she wasn't in my opinion, doing that. Can't I know, Holly, it's sad. Holly says, "I can't stand to watch him in this." Well, it's just the body I just looked at your comment too, yeah. It's his body language. Yeah, it does. It kills me too, and it's so sad because it's like you could tell that he's uncomfortable as all get out at certain points in time. He looks happy when he's eating, you know how sometimes when you like something, you're like, eating, and he doesn't look like he's and again, even in the beginning when he comes and they sit down at the table, he doesn't seem to be agitated or in any type of a disappointed mood, which I would think that it would be huge. So I'm wondering where they went to decompress after they found out that they couldn't go bowling. Because in my opinion, I think he might have been upset about that and there maybe something happened, but again, I don't think it really makes a difference in the grand scheme of things. Um, I don't. But I just wonder for the sake of the timeline. Um, because again, there's big even though there's times that we can definitely nail down, there's other times that we can't because they're just big lapses. Like the only times that we can truly nail down are the times where they're on camera and it appears that they tried to stay on camera all day so that way they had an alibi built up. So that way some of what they were saying was true, right? When they were manufacturing their story. Because I absolutely think it was manufactured and I absolutely believe that 50% of it is bullshit. Straight up. And that's why we hear Chris using the wrong um, person, right? Like he was there. But maybe he wasn't, you know. Holly says, in my opinion, she was accusing him of something terrible that he didn't do. Yeah, Holly, I wonder that too. Because we're going to get into, and that was also a topic for the war room, was what do you make of Chris and Katie tarnishing Sebastian's reputation from day one? We talked about, and we're going to continue to talk about what Chris and Katie were saying to Seth, and most likely telling creators, in my opinion, that they worked with. And even most likely, Holly, and you and I have talked about this, most likely the police, you know, they said terrible things about Sebastian. They talked about the worst, one of the worst things that Chris said about Sebastian, in my opinion, was when he told Terry Lynn that he likes to pee and poop in his pants. Likes to. It's like, why I oughta. Because nobody likes that. Oh, but Sebastian likes it. Really? You're a jerk. And then Katie. Katie talks about how Sebastian doesn't wear enough deodorant and Sebastian can be temperamental. Okay. Describe your son. Well, he's autistic and he has ADHD. That's not describing your son, Katie. Especially when you say he's autistic. And any mother that has an autistic child knows that that's not good enough. I mean, it's like she checked out a long time ago. But they were absolutely dragging his name through the mud. And then she was saying things like, well, I didn't go check on him because you could imagine what a 15-year-old boy would be doing in there and why a mother wouldn't want to go in and check on him. Really, Katie? Tell us that Sebastian was doing inappropriate things without telling us that he was doing inappropriate things and that you didn't want to walk in on it. I mean, and those are the top worst things that I can think of off the top of my head. But even during Katie's panel with Queen Bee, she was saying everything was stupid that Sebastian liked. Stupid cake pops, stupid cheese, Swiss cheese, stupid Virginia brand ham. Like, it was ridiculous. She can't even help herself. And at one point in the interview with Queen Bee, she says, Sebastian's weird. And then everybody in the panel shut up. And then Clue was like, yeah, uh-huh. Thanks for coughing for Chris. At least somebody coughed for him, because usually he's the one going to her or coughing, you know? No, she never did. Mm-mm. No. And I mean, I'd be looking around, right, Veronica? But Sebastian, where you at? She never even recalls doing that. She never even tells us that she did that, which makes it seem like her story is bullshit. Because it's not like she, you know, decided to go around and say, Sebastian, hey, where you at? I mean, she has a bonus room up there. Their house is fairly spacious. Not as nice as some of the ones in the neighborhood, but, I mean, it's a lot of room for only 3 people. Yep, and she did leave the house very quickly. Why not wait and look for your son? Why, Kate? I know, because it's not true, Janet. I know, I agree. I agree. I don't have hate for people. I really let things get to me, but I have a real hatred for 2 people I never met. I know. Scranton, I think it's just a lot of it is because we've seen what they've done. A lot of it I think is almost like warranted, but I'm with you. I don't hate them. Um I don't. And I've tried to analyze them in so many different ways from different angles, even thinking like, is Katie afraid of Chris, right? And saying, well, maybe two things are true at once, which they can be, right? Where she's abusive to Sebastian, but she's also being abused. That dynamic there. We saw that with Brittany Gosney, right? Because Brittany Gosney was told by her uh boyfriend, who was also named James like her son, not his son but hers, that if he didn't kick the kid if she didn't kick the kids out and get rid of the kids, then all of them had to leave. And so she decided to hurt James, right? Which I think her story is complete and total bullshit. We know it is because she failed the lie detector. But the point is that we see that with Katie too. We see the same thing with her, where, she's being dishonest, right? Because she's afraid that he's going to take it out on her. She doesn't want him to leave, so she'd rather take the ultimatum and get rid of Sebastian. In my opinion, I hate saying get rid of him, but that's what it appears that happened, right? Because we have the CPS reports. Going back to the fall of 2022. That's when they originally asked Seth to take Sebastian. Seth says, okay. He starts getting the ball rolling, realizing that online school has a wait list. He gets him on that wait list, and then things get a little bit better. But then again, things happen and blow up. More CPS reports, right? And then there's more CPS reports, and then there's more, and then there's a final fifth one, right? Right before Sebastian went missing. January, beginning of February 2024. Before that, it was November of 23, right? So it was just bubbling up again, like the pop bottle. Every single shake, every single time it fell over, every single time, just the littlest bit, it's building the pressure, right? They couldn't or wouldn't wait, it appears, until May, when Sebastian and the school year was over and Sebastian was going to go live with his dad. So what'd they do? It's one of the number of things you do before calling the police. I think so too, Coffee, Crime, and Cats. I think they prematurely reported. I do. I think they reported too quickly because there's a bunch of different things that they could have been thinking. Especially if we're correct about the conversation that Katie and Sebastian had, where it appears that Sebastian was upset about whatever was being said. So Katie was there, we weren't. but we're watching a bird's eye view, no sound. But knowing that they had some sort of an altercation or she was telling him things and scolding him, the first thing I would think of as a parent would be like, okay, he ran away, right? He decided to run, and with him having autism, is he hiding? Right? But again, where would Sebastian hide that he would actually want to hide? He doesn't like to be dirty. So he's not going to go hide in the woods. He's allergic to grass, so he's not going to go hide in the woods. He doesn't like bugs, so he's not going to hide in the woods. And he certainly isn't going to go out there barefoot and hide in the woods either. He's certainly not going to go out there without maybe a switch or a book to read, you know? So none of it makes sense. Who was it that she said she fell to the ground screaming and crying? Yeah, that was after the fact. So because everybody was talking crap, one day, Katie Cluminati alleged that she went outside into the front yard and started screaming and crying for Sebastian. This was months after his disappearance, by the way, and this was right after, excuse me, and this was right before Chris went on to Elevated Goof and told that panel and everyone who was listening that Katie's not dramatic like that. And she'd never. I'm sorry. Well, the way he said it was, "I'm so sorry that Katie's not going to go out onto the front lawn and just scream like you all want her to." And then I believe it was after that Clue was trying to spread that rumor around, and it's like, well, Chris just said that, right? So, but yeah, I have it somewhere. Detroit. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know. Veronica says, Scranton, I'm right there with you. So heartbreaking that Sebastian Seth, but never gave in and never gives up. I know, I know. Well, and Seth has gone through a lot, you know. And I do know that they had the service for Tony tonight. So again, my love and prayers goes out to Tony's family. Jen did send them a wind chime. So again, I want to do the meal train. I'm gonna have to have Jen get it okayed um, and stuff because I'll need to get like the email and things like that. But I'd like to do that. For them, you know, because those are things that we just don't think about, and it just helps so much if we can, you know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think I know Detroit. Me and Detroit are the same way with this, but you know, food is love, right? You know, you make food for the ones that you love and you want them, you know, to be happy. So I think it would be nice if we did the meal train. And plus it just goes straight to them, right? So like you guys don't have to cash at me and then I gotta cash, you know, put it to this or whatever. It's just straight there, straight to the source. And I think it worked out well for Mr. and Mrs. E, right? Because they have a meal train. I think it worked well for Brandy Vaughn. I know what I've shared it here as well. So I mean, I think that's a good one. But let me know what you guys think. And it's not that I don't mind about doing the Cash App thing, it's just that people were trolling Jen and I when we were in the live, and I just felt like it's not worth it for these weirdos. They just don't get it. And so I figured that would be easier for you guys. You guys can feel good about that too. And but let me know what you think. Um I heard I heard that there were a lot, a lot so many people that there wasn't adequate parking. That many people that went to honor Tony. And it just, my cup overfloweth, right? Because again, I got to know Tony, and I will tell you, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Not at all. Right. I think they literally were brainwashing him against himself. I mean, Holly, I think that that could be a strong possibility because of the military, right? What does the military do? Breaks you down, builds you up, right? They might have just been doing the breaking down part and not the building up part, right? Because it doesn't seem like they ever did build Sebastian up. I think Katie did a little bit when no one was looking, you know? And she's done that before, like on Smiley, when Chris was complaining about, oh, Sebastian didn't take care of 30 snakes and I got rid of them all, that crap. But, she's like, well, he did take care of it at first. She was kind of sticking up for him a bit, but I think it was very minimal. And I think, again, with them wanting to send him away. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, little Miss Sharon. Yep, that's easy. Look over here, not them, in my opinion. Yeah, and they brush it under the rug. It's gross, says Valley Gal. Who does that to their own child? Heartbreaking. I know. I know. Well, and especially Sebastian's just a sweetheart. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Some of it was very subtle. They got the news saying it too. Right. I know. I know. And it's like because you're trying to listen to what the family is saying, because they know this person better than we do. And it's almost like, well, who are we to tell anybody that knows Sebastian, especially his own mom, how Sebastian is? It's almost ludicrous if I think about it. I'm like, well, who the hell am I? But in the same way, we're witnessing how he was acting, and it's not indicative of what they're telling us. And then when we listen to Seth, it's also not matching up. It's like, well, that's not an accurate portrayal. That was one of the worst things Chris ever said. It shows how much he loathed him, sadly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know. It was horrible. And he thought it was cute and funny. You know? He did. He thought it was like, "Oh, ha ha ha, Sebastian likes to do that, huh?" He sounded like a schoolyard bully at best. Holly says can't walk into his bedroom because he might be doing who knows what. Yes. Makes him sound completely out of control. Exactly. And that was what they were trying to portray to us. When really he's so well mannered and here he is out in public. Some kids go bonkers when they get out in public. They're like, "Woo, mom's not going to yell at me when I'm out here, right? She'll look crazy, not me." And, that sort of thing. Like kids play off of that stuff. But Sebastian was fine. I mean, I think he was more polite than Katie was, acting like the Queen of Sheba over there, like she was. Give me my royal biscuits, two at a time. Scranton says, and Seth is 100 times more a saint than I could ever be. Oh, same. Because I would have let my Latina out, my ex, by now. Scranton to try to get answers. I know. Just saying, I know. I know. Well, and again, when Chris wants to say something like, what if this goes south? I just know I would have a reflex moment, and yeah, I mean, he has really taken his own advice, hasn't he? Because we just heard him say, I tell Sebastian, don't give them that power. And that's exactly what it is, and that's how we learn it, as we grow up not to like let that out, right? Because it's like it's so I don't know, it's just sad. It's sad that you have to get that way with your ex. Um and not wanting to really believe that they would ever hurt their own kid. See, I think this was like what was going through Seth's mind at the time, maybe not, but it would be with me. At the time, I might be thinking, "Oh my gosh, like, I know this person's an asshole, but they can't be that big of a psycho. Like, I don't think they're psychotic. I don't think they would do this, right?" Um, and I think for Seth, with him finding out that December prior to Sebastian going missing, right, that he was accepted into the online school, I think that he was thinking, "Okay, we just have to get over this hump," right? And we tell ourselves that. we motivate ourselves to keep going that way and be like, okay, not too much longer. He was looking forward to it. He said Sebastian was looking forward to it. So it was like they were gearing up for it, even though things weren't going the best. He was like, only a matter of time. Sebastian will be living here. But again, it really bothers me, Scranton, is that it doesn't seem like there was arrangements that Sebastian was going to be doing every other weekend with the feet. It seems like they wanted him to go and never to come back. Like, go to Bledsoe Youth Academy, see you whenever I see ya. Right? Whenever you're 18, come back and see us. We're not dealing with your shit, in my opinion. Because never have I ever heard what the arrangements were going to be. We can assume that the parenting plan would switch, right? Sebastian would be living at Seth's house, and every other weekend he'd go see Chris and Katie. Or just Katie. But we never heard that confirmed. It's as if it didn't matter because they were getting rid of him. Like, literally. Go live with your dad. Let him put up with your crap. Type of a thing. Like, for real. Very twisted. Very twisted. Yeah, and they've never shown like genuine concern. More like, mad defensive behavior, distancing language, Janet. Totally. Yeah. I know. It's dumb as shit. Veronica. I really wonder about her. I put nothing past her. I think in many ways she took after her mother, in my opinion. I think so too, Holly. And it makes me wonder when Elevated Goof is talking about how that he was asking if there was a possibility that Katie and Sebastian had some sort of a relationship that was highly inappropriate that resulted in a child being born. And I'm dumbing it down for YouTube because they get upset with that stuff. But that's what was being said, and that's what was being discussed, and that's what was asked by somebody that they've talked to, right? And knowing that history, I don't know, maybe that's the conclusion they came up with on their own, or maybe there were some things that were said. We'll never know the truth there. We will never know the truth. She's such a creep for saying that about not walking into his room. I know. And then we find out that he didn't have a doorknob on his door anyway. Right? And I do think that there were cameras in the house. I think they ran the house like a police state. I really do. A person is not their diagnosis. That's right, Witchy. I wouldn't say, hey, you there, right? The stroke, diabetes, right? And nobody introduces themselves like that either. It's like, hey, my name's Lady Freedom. I have diabetes. Right? My name's Lady Freedom. I have a bum leg, something like that. You just don't ever hear anybody identify like that, or nor do you hear people who care about them, especially not their mom. Especially shouldn't be their step parent or dad. Nobody should refer to them like that. And besides that, I always found it interesting that Sebastian had the rare chromosome deletion that was known since he was very, little, like a baby. And then you have the recent autism diagnosis, which Katie and Chris pushed that. And I always thought that was interesting because it was something that came later. It was new. It wasn't brand spanking new, but it was newer, and it was something that that was just recognized. So it's odd to me that they wouldn't say that, even though the symptomology matches and mirrors some of it. Some of the same things in autism spectrum disorder as the rare chromosome deletion that Sebastian has. My West Side Chola would come out for sure. Detroit, my West Side Chola. Los Ciento Homes, here it comes, right? I know. And just imagine like all the stuff that was being said. I mean, it would be bubbling up. It really would, in my opinion, for me. Um, not good enough, but us parents first have to let LE in public know that our child is autistic, and then let everyone know how to approach or be around them. That's so true, little Miss Sharon. And I know they were saying to approach Sebastian. Um, well, the news at first was saying approach Sebastian with like caution, right? Like don't just like get in his face or anything, which is understandable. They did bring an autism expert on, but we didn't hear anything from Katie on that until she talked to Holly Polly Anna Thompson. And, she asked her, well, what should people do if they see Sebastian? And she's like, say his name, he'll turn and look. Right. But then she turns around and says that um, he might not say anything, but he can talk. And so that led to people to believe that he was nonverbal some way. It was very mixed signals and not very specific, like you said. And a good parent is going to be specific and say, this is what my child will respond to. And this is what will make them run away and be scared, and that's the last thing you'd want to do if a child is out there and lost, is scare them further, right? And then Katie's telling people, tell them to stay put. And it's like, what the fuck? Like that's weird. Okay. That's not gonna freak him out at all. All right, strange. Holly says, and he had to hear his God knows what he heard. I know the last time you saw Chris, I hate to think about it. Yeah. Well, and I also think that a big part of that, little bit that Katie was describing Sebastian on Chronicles of Olivia, saying he liked to dip behind the walls and stuff. Part of me thinks that that was a cover up because obviously she got busted out by JLR, and he said, the way that the house is laid out, she has to walk past the kitchen. So that was a bunch of bull crap that she thought he might have went and got breakfast because she walks past the kitchen to get to his room. So she would have saw him, and it's more of an open concept. Um, so people were like, yeah, that's BS. But also I think some of it had to do with, if Sebastian was in fact dipping behind the walls, I think sometimes he would be listening in and eavesdropping on conversations, knowing that they were talking about sending him away. And that really does hurt me too. And I hate thinking about that. But I do consider it, so Lover Girl says criticizing and mocking him for liking good food was such a weird thing for a mother with a missing child to say. I know, exactly. Yeah, I agree. And they kept on saying Sebastian doesn't eat red meat. Sebastian doesn't eat red meat. And then they go to a steakhouse for the last dinner he's ever seen, last place, ever that he's been to eat is there. It's just strange. It's all about red meat. When you walk in the door, it's nothing but red meat in a case that you could go choose from. it, none of it makes sense. It's absolute nonsense. Lisa says Katie Proudfoot gets an effing boy parenting, in my opinion. Yeah, yes, I'm judging. Hey, Lisa. I mean, I agree. I agree. I think, I think she took the bait with Chris, and I think she took the ultimatum. I think at some point they decided that Sebastian was the problem and not them, and neither one of their fragile egos could allow them to believe that they needed to do better themselves. So spaghetti pancakes, you can Google it. Yeah. Fun fact, I made breakfast. Okay, Katie. Well, that's what we do in the morning, isn't it? Especially if we're gonna go out for the whole friggin' day. Coffee Crime and Cat says Sissy Pants has never shown a genuine emotion for Sebastian yet, in my opinion. Not once. He hasn't shed a tear, and his voice is never cracked or anything. I mean, you would think it's at a certain point we would see that, but yeah, I don't know. It's so obvious, Brenda says, in my opinion. Yeah, no maternal instinct. And, Stepfoot is lacking in paternal instincts as well. You know, he is. Then you're better than I could do, lady. I'm telling you. I mean, I've done a lot to kind of keep the peace over the years. I will say that. And there's been some bad stuff, but I will tell you, with a narcissist, you just can't win. It is a losing battle. It really is, you know? So, speaking of the CPS reports, I'd like to know why those aren't considered evidence of foul play in a disappearance like this. Well, and again, on March 11th, they were saying, well, we now know that this is a criminal investigation. And then we had people all over the internet saying, this is not a criminal investigation, you idiots, blah, 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 blah. Well, somebody's hearing that it's a criminal investigation. It shows it on the website to this day. So I don't know why anybody didn't think, Clue McNasty's lies, Lisa. CPS in Sumner County owes Seth and the community an explanation. I agree, Valley Gal. Just this week, the news reported how all of Tennessee's citizens are mandatory reporters and should report to CPS or law enforcement. Really? Ooh, I didn't see that. Wow. Which news outlet was it? I'd like to see that. I'll clip it. Yet if you quit your if you quit your CPS job, you aren't held accountable. In my opinion, please explain, Tennessee. I know. I never understood that either, Valley Gal. And hey, even the one that was on Sebastian's case, look what happened there. She wasn't fired until Seth obtained those reports. And that same week, a couple days prior, she was let go. She wasn't a good fit anymore, apparently, and nothing ever happened, you know? She did get wind chimes, she did. Yeah, I wanna do something, like, more in May, though. Yeah, thank you, Detroit. I just think it'd be something nice, you know? Um, aw, thank you, Little Miss Sharon, for dropping Seth's link. So, yeah, Veronica, he just loves his kid, and that's all it takes, you know? Scranton says, "Lady, and I think Sebastian knew that, could feel that towards him, and he told Seth he thinks they don't like me. Breaks my heart." I know. I know. Yeah, I don't think Mom and Mr. Chris like me very much. And I think as the situation was progressing, Seth was starting to realize those little things, and I think it was all becoming, as Chris would say, crystal clear, Um so you guys are identifying yourselves by your ailments. Oh no. Hey, Bubby, good to see you. So yeah, and it's interesting, right? It's interesting that they would do that with Sebastian. So I would be raising all kinds of hell if Sumner County was keeping things from me. I know. Well, and the blatant lying. I mean, that's the thing that frustrates anybody because it's because they think or excuse me, it's because people think when you're being lied to that you're being insulted and your intelligence is being insulted. And I think that's correct. I think anybody that is, you know, willing to lie, especially bold-faced to straight to your face, thinks that you're a moron, or they wouldn't be playing. They wouldn't be playing games. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the best, in which I wanna be able to give to it too, and I just can't right now. Like, I am this trip is gonna be the death of me. It's gonna be the best trip ever, but it's gonna be the death of me. Because it's stressful, just getting everything together, and like I said too, just, because I just got back from another trip, so, I mean, you know but I think that'd be the best thing, and also because you know how everybody comes around at first, and then as time goes by, it kinda dwindles down and things like that, so it'd just be nice to do something like that, and I'm just so glad to hear that there was such an outpouring of love and support. I knew that there would be, but I was really, like, blown away by how much, so I think that's a wonderful thing. Um, you know it's funny how word can get around and really make people believe things that are absolutely false. And we see that in Sebastian's case. Anyone who wants to try to find Sebastian is immediately slandered, defamed, discredited, um, and completely turned into someone they're not. And it's happened to every single one of us. But Tony, they continued at him, and they tried to drive a wedge between him and Seth, and it just never worked because of Tony's dedication and because of Seth and the relationship that he and Tony have, and those are the bonds that they're always going to try to break, but look, they can't. They never will. Okay, I think the news regarding CPS and mandating reporting was on Fox Nashville yesterday. Okay, cool, Valley Gal. I'll look into it. Um, oh, cool. I am not close to Orlando. Um, but oh my gosh, I would love to meet for lunch, Scranton. We'll have to get together on that and see. I wanted to do some things while I'm there. I'm just gonna have to try to plan it out, and if I can plan it out, I should be able to do what I want to do. Um, which is really kind of just getting some more confirmation on things. Um, but either way, I'll share it with you guys when the time is right. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, guys, because I want to get this next video out and ready for you guys, and I have to mess with my storage again. I'm really hard up for storage because, um, again, just getting all of Gannon's stuff out. But I think I'm at the point where I can go ahead and get some of that out. Um, as well, meaning delete some of it. That's why I was trying to watch through different things. I just don't want to delete things that I need still. So that's the problem with that. And then also, I've been talking with Devlin's side today of the family and gathering information on the gathering that they had, the candlelight vigil. It really went well. But I'm going to have an update for you guys about that as well. I need to get that out. But good night, Veronica. Yeah, and I will also, get out, what I'm releasing from the war room. I'm gonna release to everybody. Um, but I want to give first dibs to that and then get some ideas so we can talk about it as we go. Because I know you guys are going to come up with some great theories in the war room. I'm really excited to hear all of them. Um, Uh, Little Miss Sharon says, why was child protection fired and CP not taken to court? Oh, yeah, for the abuse of Sebastian. I mean, that is a great question. I mean, I would like to explore that a little bit more too. Just that dynamic and what happened there, what could have happened there. I think that's a really great point, Little Miss Sharon, because look, how are people losing their jobs? And that is a form of accountability, right? It really is. Because when they go to get another job, they're going to be asked about their prior work history and things like that. So it is. It's definitely being held accountable, but where's the accountability for Chris and Katie, right? We're going to talk a lot more about those CPS reports. Because like I said, when I just dropped some more about that, and then there's still going to be some more um, to drop as we go along. So, um, I'm not sure, Detroit. Like I have it planned out a little bit, but I'm not 100% when I'm going to be going. It'll be May though. It should be the first week of May. Um, so really, really soon coming up here. Um, so But anyway, well, keep your eyes peeled for that video, and I'll get it out as soon as I can for this next wave of conversation on, what Seth was saying in the beginning, what was going on, and then also, still examining what led up to Sebastian's disappearance, because I think that's where we're going to find some really big indications of what transpired. And of course, You know, look at Sebastian's t-shirt here, refuse to quit. So we got to keep going. We got to keep going until we figure this out. And I think if we put our heads together, I think that we are unstoppable. So let's try to figure out what could have happened to this sweet boy. All right, guys. I love you all very, very much, and I will see you guys all next time.